The little girl's voice was so soft it almost disappeared into the noise of the cafe, but somehow it cut through everything like a fragile thread pulling at a stranger's heart. She stood there, clutching the strap of her worn backpack, eyes wide with a mix of hope and hesitation, and asked a question that felt far bigger than her tiny frame. She didn't know it, but that simple question was about to change two lives forever. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet magic of human connection, take a moment right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Heartfelt Stories. You never know which story might remind you why compassion still matters. The cafe was bright with mid-morning sunlight, the kind that poured in through large windows and painted everything gold. Zara Hashmi sat alone at a corner table, her laptop open but untouched. Her coffee had long gone cold, but she didn't notice. Her thoughts were louder than the world around her, echoing with the weight of recent months that quietly unraveled her once carefully ordered life. Zara had built everything on control, her career, her routines, her expectations of people. But life had a way of slipping through even the tightest grip. A broken engagement, a career setback, and the slow drift of friendships had left her feeling like she was standing still while everything else moved on without her. The cafe had become her escape, a place where she could sit among strangers and pretend she was still part of something. That was when she noticed the little girl. She couldn't have been more than 6 or 7. Her hair was tied into 2 uneven ponytails, and her dress looked slightly too big, like it had been chosen for comfort rather than style. There was something in her eyes, though, something older than her years. She stood near the tables, scanning the room not with curiosity, but with a quiet kind of searching, as if she was looking for something she had lost. Zara tried to return to her thoughts, but the girl didn't move. Instead, she slowly walked toward Zara's table, each step hesitant, as though she wasn't sure she had the right to be there. Then came that question. She asked if she could sit. For a moment, Zara didn't respond. Not because she didn't want to, but because the request felt oddly heavy. It wasn't just a child asking for a seat. It felt like something deeper, something unspoken, something lonely. Zara nodded. The girl climbed onto the chair across from her, placing her small backpack carefully on her lap. She didn't speak again immediately. She just sat there, her eyes occasionally glancing up at Zara, then quickly looking away. There was a quietness about her that didn't feel natural for someone her age. Zara found herself studying her without meaning to. The scuffed shoes, the slightly wrinkled dress, the way she held her bag tightly, as if it contained everything she owned. Time passed in silence, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It was a kind of silence that felt like it was waiting to become something else. Eventually, the girl began to draw on a small piece of paper she pulled from her bag. Her hands moved carefully, deliberately, as though every line mattered. Zara watched as shapes began to form. First a house, then a tree, then 2 figures standing side by side. Something about the drawing tugged at her. Zara asked about it, her voice softer than usual, as though she didn't want to break whatever fragile moment had formed between them. The girl hesitated, then explained in a quiet voice that it was her and her father. She didn't say much more, but the way she spoke about him carried a kind of deep admiration, mixed with something else, something heavier. Zara felt something shift inside her. As the minutes turned into an hour, pieces of the girl's story began to emerge. Not all at once, but in small fragments, like scattered puzzle pieces slowly coming together. Her name was Meher. She came to the cafe often. Her father worked nearby, long hours, and sometimes she waited here until he finished. Zara found herself wondering why a child, so young, seemed so used to waiting. There was no complaint in Meher's tone, no bitterness, just acceptance, as if this was simply how life was meant to be. And that was what made it so heartbreaking. Zara had spent months feeling sorry for herself, caught in the storm of her own disappointments. But sitting across from this child, she realized something uncomfortable. There were struggles far quieter than hers. Struggles that didn't announce themselves, that didn't demand attention, but existed just the same. Meher didn't ask for anything. She didn't expect anything. She had only asked for a place to sit. The cafe door opened. A man walked in, scanning the room with tired eyes. The moment Meher saw him, her entire face changed. The quiet stillness lifted, replaced by something bright and warm. Her father, He looked exhausted. His clothes were simple, his posture slightly slouched from what must have been a long day of work. But when his eyes landed on Meher, something shifted. The weariness didn't disappear, but it softened. Zara watched as he approached, his expression carrying both relief and guilt. The kind of guilt that comes from knowing you're doing your best, but still feeling like it's not enough. He thanked Zara, his voice sincere but slightly rushed, as though he was used to being on the move. There was a humility in him, a quiet strength that didn't need to prove itself. That was when Zara understood. Meher wasn't just a child waiting in a cafe. She was the daughter of a single father trying to hold everything together. And suddenly, everything made sense. The worn shoes, the quiet patience, the way she clung to small moments of connection. Zara felt something inside her crack open. It wasn't pity. It was recognition. Life didn't break people the same way, but it broke everyone somehow. Over the next few days, Zara found herself returning to the cafe not out of habit, but with a strange sense of anticipation. And almost every time Meher was there, their quiet companionship grew naturally. No effort, no expectations. Just shared space, small smiles, and moments of understanding that didn't need words. Zara began to feel something she hadn't in a long time. Purpose. It started small. A second cup of juice placed on the table, without making a big deal of it. A pack of crayons left behind by accident. A few extra minutes spent listening. But those small things mattered, more than she realized. Meher began to open up more. Her laughter came easier. The weight in her eyes didn't disappear, but it lightened. And Zara began to heal too. It was strange how helping someone else could quietly put your own broken pieces back together. One afternoon, Meher handed Zara a drawing. This time, it was different. There were 3 figures standing side by side. Zara didn't need an explanation. Something in her chest tightened, not with sadness, but with a deep, overwhelming emotion she hadn't felt in a long time. Belonging. As the days passed, Zara got to know Meher's father better too. His name was Ayan. He worked tirelessly, juggling responsibilities that most people never saw. There was no complaint in him, only determination. But Zara could see the cracks, the exhaustion, the silent sacrifices, and she realized something important. Strength didn't always look loud. Sometimes, it looked like a man showing up every single day, even when he had nothing left to give. Sometimes, it looked like a little girl waiting patiently, trusting that she wasn't alone. Zara's life didn't magically fix itself. Her problems didn't disappear, but they stopped feeling like the center of her world. Because now, she was part of something bigger. A quiet, unexpected connection that had started with a simple question. Can I sit with you? And the answer had changed everything. If this story has touched your heart even a little, take a moment to comment, and share it with someone who might need a reminder that kindness still exists in this world. Before we reach the end, I have a special request for you. Comment the word kindness if you believe even the smallest act can change someone's life, because sometimes it really can. Zara looked at Meher and Ayan one last time before leaving the cafe that evening, the sunlight once again painting everything gold. But this time, it felt different. It didn't feel like she was watching life from the outside. She was part of it. And somewhere in the quiet space between brokenness and healing, she realized something simple yet profound. We're all just looking for a place to sit. And sometimes, all it takes is one person to say yes.